Hey, welcome to the Small Business Show. Today I've got Cam Roberts and Steve Plummer. I always go to call Cam Rob because of his surname. I do apologise for that. These guys have put together a really awesome package about trying to help us with something that's so basic to every business. It's about actually getting more clients. It's both the marketing and the selling phase of that. And for that reason, I thought we'd have a bit of a chat with them. So, Steve, first, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background and how did you come about being an expert in this?
Hey, Kev, thanks. Welcome, everyone. Great to see everyone here on the show. So I'm a marketing strategist and copywriter. I haven't always done that, though. I spent the first 20 years of my working life as a high school teacher, head of a department and deputy principal. The love of words, though, was eating away at me, so I did some freelance journalism as well, running my own business on the side there, but problem with journalism, it doesn't pay very well. So love of words, wanted to write for a living, so I transitioned into copywriting, have evolved into a marketing strategist, and in about 30 seconds, that's my quick story. So ex-deputy principal, now a marketing strategist and copywriter who has clients all over the country.
Fantastic. And yourself, how did you come about everything, Kat?
Yeah, look, I say in my previous life, I was actually a high-performance swimming coach. So I started off in my early 20s as a swimming coach, very successful at a national, international level. Transitioned from that into a business. At one stage, I had 3 different business models with 35 staff and 1,500 clients to look after. Did that for almost 15 years. And whilst doing that, I became very good at my own marketing. What was happening in my own business is my own clients who were swim school clients or gym clients were coming to me asking for help with their own business and their own marketing. And I quickly realized I had another business there. And so I became a business consultant and business advisor. And so from that, I transitioned into doing that full time about 10 years ago and have been a marketing consultant and business advisor ever since.
So managing 1,500 clients, you would have had to have that very well organised and very well coordinated to make sure that you keep touch with that many people. So that's fantastic. Yeah. So how did you guys meet and come together?
Well, we spoke on the same stage about, I don't know, Cam, 8-10 years ago at some big events around the country. And I wasn't going to let this out of the bag, but Cam's actually a Mexican, right? He's from south of the border. 2 years ago, he saw the light, and I don't know how, but he got over the border, moved into Queensland. I live on the Sunshine Coast, so does Cam. And so, we just reconnected, catch up for a coffee every week. And it just so happened, we talk family, business, and so forth. And it just so happened that, we were, and I think Cam even brought it up, he said, look at these guys. We've been here for 3 or 4 months, and not once have they acknowledged our presence. They see us every week, same time, we sit in the same seat, and then we started thinking, well, how could we change that? How could we help a business like this? And we just listed about 12 things that we could do: low cost, no cost, free coffee Fridays, flyers for local businesses, etc., etc., etc. And we timed the number of people coming in and averaged out. And we thought, gee, without a lot of effort and without a lot of expense, we could actually help these guys increase their turnover significantly in the 7 to 1 or 2 that they were opened. That's about right, Cam, isn't it? Have you got anything to add to that?
That's spot on. Yeah.
And here we are, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been speaking on stage. You met a long time ago, and then reconnected when Cam moved up to the Sunshine Coast. You can't blame people for where they're born. That's not their fault. That's their parents, okay? So we'll have none of that kind of behaviour here today. I myself was born in Sydney. So,
okay.
So how'd you come? So with that, 3 big rocks, where's the expression come from? What are we talking about?
Cam, you want to do that one? Yeah.
Yeah. Look, the three big rocks are content marketing, also known as copywriting. In the marketing world, we talk about copywriting. Content marketing is just the buzzword that people talk about. And Steve's going to be sharing today what type of content you should be using, the formulas for creating great copy. The second big rock is around social media, because once you create the content, you need somewhere to share that content, right? And the third big rock is a natural progression of that is once you get people and they put their hand up and you have a conversation with them, how do you convert them? How do you convince them? How do you make that sale happen systematically and automatically without doing that, the old school always be closing grunt work of sales?
Yeah, because we know that we all hate being sold to, right? That's why guys will go into a menswear shop. They'll actually see a shirt that they like, and as soon as the guy says, "Can I help you?" we go, no. We start looking at our feet and walk out, right? So we know that we do that. We hate being sold to, and that is part of the hesitancy. So having a program that can help both attract and convert without that pushy sales bit, that absolutely fantastic. So, so today, Steve, you're going to talk about copy and content and copy. Tell us a little bit more about your philosophy there.
Yeah, it's a really good one, Kevin. And I think the first thing is, no one, like you said, no one would be that sleazy used car salesman who's always pushing themselves and pushing their solution onto you. Everyone hates that. So that's kind of the first principle of it. I think the second thing, though, I think one thing, well, I've probably got two principles here. Number one, what has happened because of that, almost as a backlash of that over the last few years, is that people have gone from selling. Nothing happens in business until the sale is made. So people have gone from selling to doing content, and it's almost like it's content just for the sake of it, because people are saying that's what I should do, and so that's the first thing. I think we've gone too far away from from selling in what we do. It doesn't mean we have to be sleazy or anything like that. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is, I really do believe that good content marketing is based on the fundamentals of copywriting or sales language. We're not talking copyright with the C and the the legal term, but copywriting, the language of sales or sales language. And the poor bits of content I see these days really absent of the principles that make people buy, and the things that we need to do as business owners to move people from prospect to interest, to customer, to repeat buyer, to lifelong client kind of thing. And like I said, my contention is that there are two things. It's gone too far from sales and strong sales language. But to do content well, you've got to have the fundamentals of copywriting. And the thing is too, that I think another part of the problem, this is sort of a subset of it, is that we have never been taught to write to sell. Right now, I know that I was an English teacher for nearly 20 years, right? And I didn't teach people how to write to sell. I had to learn that when I got out of education, right? And I taught myself, spent a lot of money investing in the skills of copywriting. So we're not taught naturally how to write to sell, and it is a skill, and it does have a certain amount of nuances and things that you must do to move people along that progression that I mentioned. And the thing is, though, it is a learned skill, okay? So you don't have to be a great writer to learn strong sales language or copywriting.
So can anyone learn it?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, great.
Just to give you a quick example, I've taught Cam the finer arts of copywriting, and he's a very good copywriter in his own right. But he learned on the job, and he learned when he came to people like me to help him, get better at that skill. But it is a skill, right? It's not a natural gift. We're never taught to write how to sell something. We're taught to write to convey information.
Yep.
What I love about how Steve teaches is he's got a background in teaching, which he already shared. So he's very good at not just delivering the content or the topic, if you like, but actually teaching it in such a way that, it's easy for people to understand. And Steve's style, the way he writes copy and the way he teaches copy is very magnetic, in the way that it draws people in. So it really is, part art and part science of what Steve teaches and how he teaches the process.
Thanks, Cam. I guess it's my shout next time we go to the cafe.
Hopefully I'll be there. Now, so with copy, what are some quick basic tips that you could give someone if they were thinking, "Hey, how do I just get started?" Because I'm guilty of writing stuff that is going nowhere.
Yep. Number one, no one gets everything right all the time. Okay, yep. If you're going to market, if you're going to write copy, you're going to make mistakes. So if you're one of those anal types who doesn't like making mistakes and gets caught up on that, you need to get over that, because some things you do will work brilliantly, some things won't. That's marketing, that's copywriting. I think just in terms of marrying the copy and the content back, there's probably three, I guess, important things. The first one is the strategy behind it. And this is one of the things that in copywriting we are really clear about why we're doing something. And I see a lot of content these days, for example, blogs that are just their information. It's almost for the sake of it. Whether people go to a marketing agency and spend big dollars to get their content done, I'm not sure what it is, but a lot of content is, I guess, seems a bit of fluff and not really having a point to it. Remembering that nothing happens in business until a sale is made. Yeah. So that is probably the number one thing that I could leave people with. If you take nothing out of today, that number one thing of what do you actually want people to do here? What do you want them to feel? What do you want them to think? And what do you want them to do? You've got to have a strategy as to why you're doing something. Otherwise, you're kind of just wasting your time. Now those things, it could be, to build trust. It could be to make a sale. It could be to, build proof of your business or the concept that you sell. Like there are so many things or so many reasons why you do something, but you've just got to be clear what it is every single time you do that.
Steve, I just want to jump in. Like, you brought up a couple of good points there about you've got to be really clear about what you're writing for. Do you see that when people write content or they write copy, they probably ask too many things at once? Like they're trying to do too many things at once? Well, what's your advice on that?
Yeah, it should be. I mean, it goes back to when the internet was a baby. One page, one action, and that kind of, I think, is very much as well with any sort of content or message that you're sending out. What's the one thing? You might still tell a story, but that story needs to lead somewhere. Yeah. Rather than the photo of your legs by the pool or whatever it might be. Don't do that. If you're trying to make a sale. Yeah. What's that? Sorry, Kevin.
Awesome if you're selling legs.
Yeah, true. Yes.
Yeah, but not many people are selling legs. So it really is about that. Or pools maybe. So the first hint, even before you think about coming along to any workshop, is, hey, what's the purpose for this? Why are you writing this? What do you want them to feel, think, and do? And be very clear about that in the copy that you've got. Fantastic. Now, next week, we're going to come back same time and we're going to chat with Cam. Now, Cam, you're going to help us understand the next two big rocks. They were, again?
Yeah, social media, how to take your social media and turn it into a profit center, and then sales strategies. And Steve and I will probably both touch on sales strategies, and that is, like Steve said at the start of the show today, how to make the first sale, but the second sale, third sale, and get repeat business and turn repeat business into loyal customers. How do you create a system for that?
Fantastic.
Kevin, can I just give one example there of sales strategies, just to, I guess, seed next week's call, because good content, right? It should have a next step. Okay, right. So this is, I guess, me demonstrating or teaching. So if we're in the market for communication devices, for instance, it's called the yes or yes close. A lot of people just go, okay, Kevin, look, here's a pen. Would you like to buy it? Now, what's your mind going? Probably no. However, if I go the yes or yes close, so Kevin, I've got a pen or I've got a phone. They're almost the same price. Which one of these would you like?
That's a very cheap phone or a very expensive phone.
Both.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from there. So, and we can weigh up, hey, do I want a $1,000 pen?
Yes.
Probably not.
But see the thing in your mind went from yes or no to which one of those. It was a subtle shift in your thinking. And so I just don't see those sorts of things enough in the content that people do. And so we'll cover some of those next week as well.
Fantastic. So we'll be back same time next week, 12 o'clock on Wednesday. Thanks very much for your conversation today. Next week, we'll talk more about the other big rocks, the social media, and then the sales strategies. So thanks very much for your time, everybody. And we'll catch both Steve and Cam again next week to help close out this particular show. Thanks very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, mate.
Bye now.